The organization has done is called Raise International. But I think if you guys are like me a little bit, we all hear about missions and mission trips and all that kind of stuff, and all of us wonder what really happens on the mission trip, what goes on, what's successful. And this organization has got some really unique things that they have done. So instead of me blabbering, I'll let Aaron Holsapple come up and he can share with you. So let's give him a welcome.
All right, thank you guys for letting me come out. And this is the new recording system, right?
We're in this week.
Awesome. We'll see if it works. My name is Aaron Holsapple. I work with Raise International. I'm the Director of Operations there. And just want to share a little bit about myself, a little bit about what we do, and then also share just an encouragement from God's Word for each of us and how we can apply some of the principles of Raise in our day-to-day life here in Brevard County. So, like I said, my name's Aaron. I was raised in Central Florida. I was raised in Eustis up to about high school, and that's the time that, for whatever reason, God exiled me up north. And I went to southern Illinois, where all my extended family's from. Got to enjoy those winters. God decided to stick me up there even longer by sticking me in the youth ministry in Indianapolis for about 15 years, which was awesome. It was a great time up there. If I have any youth ministers or want to be youth ministers in here, youth ministry is awesome. Did I just hear? It is, man. I was 15 years same church, which was phenomenal because I was able to see some of the kids that were very young when I came in. I was able to perform some of their weddings, see some of their kids being born, and just neat. Really, really neat ministry opportunity there. After 15 years, though, of some of the church politics and behind-the-scenes stuff, which can get a little old, I decided it was time to take a break and went into parachurch ministry. And still, God stuck me up in Indiana. But I was working at a missions organization called CSI Ministries. CSI Ministries stands for Christian Service International, and they facilitated short-term ministries to 5 different fields, and I was able to oversee 3 of those. I was able to oversee the field of Haiti, Belize, and Jamaica. And my job there was to work with the on-field missionaries to receive these teams, to find different ministry opportunities within the community to plug these teams into. It was through that ministry at CSI that Raise really began its long-term ministry objectives. CSI was focused on receiving those short-term teams to come in and do relief work, but we had missionaries on the field in Jamaica particularly who wanted to do a longer-term, more impactful ministry for the community. What they had found, what our missionaries in Jamaica had found, was that for 30 years, as a result of a hurricane that had swept through Jamaica, Jamaica had been receiving teams to come in and help rebuild houses. And the houses they would build are really nothing more than what you would buy in the parking lot of Lowe's. I mean, it was a 10 by 15 wood framed house that a team could come in, they could put together very quickly in a week's period, go home, show the pictures to their church about what a great job they did in Jamaica, and feel very good about themselves. And what we were finding was that relief effort was not helping to provide a long-term, sustainable development in Highgate, in Jamaica. As a result of the relief efforts that were happening, it was actually creating more of a negative dependency on foreign help to come in and address these issues. And so the missionaries were looking at it thinking, there's got to be more that we can be doing. And so what they did was they got together with some of the local community leaders in Jamaica and said, what can we do? How can we best impact this community for long-term change and development? And the community leaders came up with this idea that if we could find ways in the St. Mary Parish, which is located in the northeast kind of corner of a round island, it's up in that northeast sector of Jamaica, used to be really, really heavy agricultural practices. And these community leaders said if we could find a way to reestablish farming practices that provided sustainability for families, then that would help change the community here. And if we could do that, not just in showing them how to farm, but teaching them farming practices. Teaching them farming practices that conserve the soil, that was low disruption to the environment around them. And so we found this, found a farming model called Farming God's Way, which is a great model because it provides the farming practices that we were looking for, but it does it in a spiritual way that gives all glory to God. And as a ministry, that was our primary focus. So we found the farming practices. They also wanted to find ways for education, find ways for trade education that could get the people actively employed there in Jamaica. So we partnered with 2 colleges in Jamaica. One is called HART, one is called CASE. And they provide certificates for people that complete this course of Farming God's Way. And then the Jamaicans leave with a certificate in hand. They feel good about what they've accomplished. And they move on through the community. They also wanted to find sustainable or safe, sustainable housing. Not housing that could be thrown up in a week, that basically put a roof over someone's head, that was then destroyed within 5 years because of termites. They wanted something that would be safe and adequate. And so one of the focuses of RAISE is to provide that type of housing through concrete-based housing. It is way more expensive. It cannot be done in a week, but it does provide shelter that a family can live in for long term. Another thing that they wanted was they wanted to stop the cycle of dependency that was created because of short-term teens. They wanted to find a way to care for their own. And so one of the principles of RAISE is to, at the end of our development, to find ways that we can get the locals to invest in caring for their own poor. We don't want to be there forever. You know, I love Jamaica, I love the Jamaicans, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be there forever. I want to be able to not have to go there because they're taking care of themselves. And so that's one of the things that, one of the reasons we got started. RAISE has been in Jamaica since 2010. In 2010, we were able to acquire 190 acres right outside of actually the CSI guest house. It's literally in a mountain. It used to be a banana plantation, and then after that it was a cow pasture, and now it's a forest. And so we are there with 190 acres trying to reclaim that back into productive agricultural land. We send teams down, they clear woods for us, they do all kinds of stuff for us. But we now have on property roughly 15 acres of farming land that is being used regularly for agricultural purposes. We have about 3 acres of goat pastures set up. We have 60 head of goat down there that we market for meat and for breeding purposes. We have an acre-sized pond, which is huge up on top of a mountain. And then we are looking at developing about 5 acres here in the next, hopefully within the next year or two. About 5 acres of that land is going to be dedicated to community sporting events. We're going to have a full-size soccer field with 8-lane, 400-meter track around there. If y'all didn't know, track's pretty big in Jamaica. And we've got schools, churches, community groups that want to come in and utilize that. So we're looking to build that literally up on top of the mountain. It's going to be pretty cool to see. RAISE is down there because we want to see long-term change. You know, one of the practical things for me in youth ministry, one of the things I loved in youth ministry was being able to get personally connected and personally involved with an individual and walk with them through what they were going through. You know, to come in and think that we have all the answers, whether it be in youth ministry, whether it be in missions, whether it be in our church work or our job, You know, to think that we have all the answers, we can just come in and drop information and then leave, is, for me, short selling the kingdom. You know, for me, kingdom work has to be work that you roll your sleeves up and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this long term. I'm going to be personally invested in the people that God has placed in my path for whatever time it is. But I'm going to sit here and say, you know, I'm in this for the long haul. And that's one of the cool things about Raise. You know, for Raise, our tagline is developing communities to overcome poverty. And I don't know how many of y'all have read When Helping Hurts and Toxic Charity and books like that talk about the difference between relief and rehabilitation and development. Talk about different kinds of poverty. You know, when we talk about poverty, we're looking holistically at poverty. We're not just talking financial, material poverty. We're talking about poverty that is financial and material, but it's also relational, it's social, it's spiritual, it's emotional. You know, all those things. You know, poverty comes in a bunch of different ways, and we believe that if we could build community around people, if we can get people to invest in people, then we can help overcome all different areas of poverty that will make a lasting impact for the kingdom. One of the ways that we do this on a practical sense within Raise, I said that the community leaders, community advisory group said if we could find ways to farm, if we could find ways to reintroduce agriculture, that would help that community. And so what we've done as Raise, as a business model, is we've said what we'll do is we'll take the 190 acres which God provided for us, we will transform that back into agricultural practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to create micro-enterprises. You know, we don't want to create a plantation. That's the last thing that the Jamaicans need. Jamaica, if y'all don't know, first of all, it's a very young country. Do I have any James Bond fans in here? All right. I am not going to ask who saw the first James Bond in a theater, okay? First James Bond, Dr. No, filmed in Jamaica, okay? Really cool. At the time, Jamaica was still a British colony. Wow. That just lets you know how young of a country Jamaica really is. I mean, 62 was its year of independence. So it's a brand new, relatively speaking, country on the world map.
Still there?
Huh?
Is Papa Doc still there?
No, I don't know.
Oh, I'm thinking of 8. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right, that's right.
on our island, no, I know. So, you know, it's a relatively young country. Another unique thing about Jamaica, I oftentimes will refer to Jamaican nationals. There truly are no Jamaican nationals anymore. Right. Jamaica was wiped out. When the Spanish came, they brought disease, they brought basically conquering with them, took out the Indians that had inhabited Jamaica. Jamaica then was repopulated as one of the corners of the slave trade. So Jamaica's population is slave, or ex-slave. Makes it a very unique country. But, you know, we're able to get in there, we're able to work with these guys, and the last thing we want to do as a ministry is have a perception that we're the white guys coming down to basically give the black guys a job. Because the perception then becomes, it's just another plantation on us. You know, we got 190 acres. Literally, on this 190 acres, the CSI guest house, which we're still in ministry partnership with, the CSI guest house is an ex-member of Parliament's house on top of a hill. I mean, it could look like the white guys are there operating a plantation. And so we're very, very mindful of that. So one of the things we want to do is we want to create a community where we provide opportunities for the Jamaicans to succeed in their own culture. Because of that, we don't have any American staff living in Jamaica. We work specifically with the indigenous Jamaican community there by having them supply business managers, having them supply our assistant managers, having them complete the necessary marketing arrangements and all that stuff that go along with the agricultural practice. We don't have Americans down there. What we do, though, is we go down and we encourage the development of micro-enterprises. And these micro-enterprises are comprised of 5 distinct individuals, 4 of which are agricultural farmers, 1 of which is a livestock farmer. And as a collective team, they then are keeping each other accountable for their enterprises' farming practices. They are granted by Raise the use of 12 to 15 acres of farmable land. They are granted an immediate herd of goats, up to 60 head, that they then have to farm and market. They are given water as a resource. Only 3% of the farmers in Jamaica have adequate means of irrigation for their farms. So imagine, Jamaica's been in a drought for 3 years now, and only 3% of those farmers even have access to water. So farming is very difficult right now in the current conditions that they're in. But we provide them water on site for irrigation of their crops. We provide them tools and resources. And the other thing that we do is we provide them a guaranteed market. The way our business model works is once their micro-enterprise is created, they begin farming the lands. In order to help create that sustainability, all they literally have to do is get their product out of the ground and bring it to the Raise office. Raise then will pay them the market value of their crops. And it's on Raise then to make sure we're working our marketing networks to physically get it out into the community at the local markets, the grocery stores, that type of thing. So it's a very low-risk endeavor for the individuals that are part of Raise. And the reason we do that is because we believe that people find value in what they do. And we believe that we can show God's example of who they were created to be. You know, it's real easy for someone in Jamaica, specifically in the Highgate area, to literally be locked up with fear because of poverty. And that's not who God created them to be. God created them to be free. God created them to have a relationship, both in community and with Him. And so we try to establish that through the use of these micro-enterprises, and we try to make it as enticing as possible so it's a low-risk endeavor for the individuals, especially from our end. I mean, it looks like a no-brainer for us. For them, though, even though it is low risk, it's still something that they're people of. So we try to create an environment that is low risk, that shows them the love of God. It decreases that level of dependency on outside resources, and it allows them then to reinvest in their own community. So that's what Raise is trying to do. So how does that work for us? There's a famous passage in Luke 10. So I'm going to go ahead and read that for y'all. And I'll show you how it works for us here in Brevard County. Y'all know the story. It says, Luke 10:25, now an expert in religious law stood up to test Jesus, saying, Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And he said to him, what is written in the law? How do you understand it? And the expert answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, with all your mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said to him, you've answered correctly. Do this and you will live. Just a side note, if ever you're chatting with Jesus and he says, hey, you answered correctly, you might just want to stop the conversation. Okay? I'm just saying, call it a day right there. But the expert, wanting to justify himself, said to Jesus, who's my neighbor? Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell into the hands of robbers who stripped him, beat him up, and went off, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down that road, but when he saw the injured man, he passed by on the other side. And so to a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, he passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan who was traveling came to where the injured man was, and when he saw him, he felt compassion on him. And he went up to him and he bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine on them. And then he put him on his own animal, and he brought him to an inn, took care of him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and he gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take care of them, and whatever else you spend, I'll repay you when I come back this way." Which of these 3 do you think became a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert of religious law said, "The one who showed mercy on him." So Jesus said to him, "Go and do the same." You know, for us, Raise is a business, Raise is a ministry. You know, one of the things I would love for y'all to get involved with Raise. You know, we have flyers over there. We have a business card. Y'all can hop online. You can check it out. You know, any way y'all want to get involved with Raise would be absolutely awesome. Okay? You know, bare minimum, I'd ask that y'all pray for us. But Raise's purpose is to develop communities to overcome poverty. I believe that each of our individuals' purposes is also to develop community to overcome poverty. Again, not just material poverty, but that holistic sense of poverty. You know, whether it's in Jamaica or whether it's right here, we have people that are hurting and need community built around them. You know, I love the story of this Good Samaritan because the first thing that happened was this guy, you know, the priest and Levi, we're just going to kind of leave them out. We know they were dogs and shouldn't have done what they did, okay? But the Samaritan, he walked by, and the first thing he did was he felt compassion for this guy. And guys, you know, the thing that drives Raise is our compassion for those that are hurting in Jamaica. And the thing that should drive us is our compassion for people that are hurting around us. You know, whether it's I don't think there's anybody standing on that corner, but whether it's a guy that maybe standing on that corner holding a sign, or whether it's a guy that's sitting in the cubicle next to us at work, or whatever it is, we know people that are hurting. And we need to have compassion that drives us to get involved. You know, besides just feeling compassion, because it's one thing to sit there and go, "Man, you know, I realize you're hurting, sorry, pray for you." You know, instead of doing that, this guy offered relief. And the first thing he did was he bandaged up this guy's wounds. He took care of the need immediately. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about the story is he didn't just stop there. He went on and he went full in with this guy. Loaded him up on his animal, took him to the inn, paid the innkeeper out of his own money, and said, "You know what, if that's not enough, I'll come back, I'll give you even more." And so guys, my challenge for us today as men is to go full in when we see a need. You know, I'm sure every single one of us, I know today, as a matter of fact, whenever I drive home, it's the same guy standing on the same corner holding the same sign. And every day I see him, and I wish I could say that I even did step 1, which was feeling compassion, because a lot of times I don't. You know, a lot of times I don't feel anything. I'm thinking about what my wife's going to fix me for dinner. And this guy's sitting here begging for food. You know, we need to keep our eyes open and feel compassion. Then we need to offer relief. And, you know, using that guy as an example, my challenge to you would be not just to offer relief and give the guy $5 out the window. Instead, take him to the subway. It's across the street and say, "Hey, can I sit down and talk with you?" Just get to hear his story. Let's find ways to get fully invested. You know, I wish I could say that ministry was a stand off to the side, you know, throw money every once in a while or clap, and it just doesn't work that way. You know, ministry, whether it's through stuff we do with Raise, whether it's through stuff you do at your church, ministry is a personal investment to go all the way. And so my challenge for us today is to make that commitment to go all the way. So that's what I've got. Yeah, I appreciate it. I was here last week. I appreciate the opportunities to come out. You know, I hope to be a regular part of this and build that community with you guys. I'm thrilled that you guys meet here every week. So, you guys have any questions or anything about Raise? Whatever.
Mike. And you're talking about how you got a spiritual component. How do you practically weave that into the needs, the physical needs that you talked about?
Everything that we do spiritually through Raise is done with the local churches down there. So we invest in the ministry that's already on the field through the local church, because we believe that, we can go down, we can throw a tent up and offer a chicken meal and say, hey, who wants to accept Jesus? And they could do that, and we'd have the same people do it every year. Okay? We want to invest in the local churches down there, so we provide, at their request, pastoral training. So we have pastors from the States here that go down, and they will provide us pastoral training. We provide any outsourcing of things is all done through the local church. So if anyone brings anything, like if a team brings something, or they bring finances or clothing or whatever, just a side note, man, if y'all go on a mission trip and you decide to leave clothes, don't just leave your clothes that you would throw away when you get here, okay? I mean, leave stuff that you would want, okay? But anyway, so we do that with the churches. All of our stuff is locally sourced from the churches, because we want the local Jamaicans in community to be able to find their churches as a resource. So that's how we do that.
What kind of crops do the people on the farm grow?
All the crops are fruit and vegetables. Bananas and plantains are huge. We do cocoa, which is a ground root vegetable, not the chocolate tree. But we do cocoa, we do yams, we do pumpkins, beans, so lots of fruits and vegetables, nothing that we consider a staple, like wheat or corn or anything like that. So.
Is it your hope that the locals will kind of learn from Raise's farm and then go out and do their own thing, or are you kind of going to keep them?
No, our intent with the 12, 15 acres is for them to farm that, maybe 5-6 years as a micro enterprise. Get to the point of sustainability that they then are able to go out and purchase their own plot of land and have their own farm and have people working with them on that farm. So we see it more as an incubator for what we're doing. There's no definitive timeline that they have to leave, but we encourage them to launch out.
How receptive are the local Jamaicans to this project?
We've had really good interest from the community on it. They're receptive both to being a part of it, but also to support it through their marketing, like the local businesses and stuff like that want produce from Raise so that they can help in that venture of it.
And the people that actually are doing the farming, are they subsidized somehow while they're doing this?
Yeah. So right now, what we're doing for the past 3 years, the first micro enterprise has only been going for about 2 years now, and it's really not even been going fully, except for maybe the last 6 months or so. We had some setbacks. One was Hurricane Sandy that came through and wiped out, literally raised the farm, and we had to start over. So, we've had some setbacks like that. The drought has set us back some. But we as a ministry, our finances are set up. We have some funds specifically for Haiti. We have some funds for, specifically for Jamaica, and we have our general fund. A lot of our general fund has been subsidizing income for these guys. The farmers are guaranteed a base minimum wage on the farm until they can reach sustainability. And right now, actually, we are in a marketing push, asking people if they'd be willing to basically provide a year's worth of income for our farmer, which will free them from the fear of not knowing where the next check is. Because what they have to do, they have to get to the point where their crops are coming in consistently enough that they can hit market with them. Mm-hmm. So, and right now, just for y'all to know, that is $500 a month or $6,000 a year, basically, that provides all the income they need for an entire year.
What is the, this is in only one location in Jamaica?
It is right now, yes.
Because I've been through Jamaica, many have here, I'm sure. And when you get off the airport, all you see is unbelievable poverty until you get over to the resort areas.
Right.
Just unbelievable poverty. The question would be is, what is the minimum size of a lot that would generate income, and you say the sustainability would be $6,000.
Right.
What size land, I realize land productivity varies, but what would be the size? Are they fixed up in a lot that is the size that would produce that $6,000 when it's up to?
Yeah,
And what would that size be?
3 acres. 3 acres is a manageable enough size lot for an individual once they get their crops in ground to be able to manage the weeding and the mulching and all that stuff that goes with that. But 3 acres is workable, that provides enough income to
And they can do that for 12 months of crops constantly?
Yes.
Thing. And the other thing is, I noticed that in TV ads that I've seen, the big companies, I think Bayer was one of them, maybe another company, have actually producing systems to provide irrigation for farmers in these third world countries. And some of them are push operators, foot operators. They have these drainage systems. Do you work with other organizations such as Samaritan's Purse or any of the other organizations, or do you aim to get any of this technology to help create more productivity?
Yeah, we put some feelers out to the review. Actually, the Air Water Networks does some stuff also.
I just feel it's a ministry that they fly around the world and they provide water resources, including turning very dangerous water into pure water.
Yeah.
You know that ministry, I think.
I do, yeah. And right now ours isn't for drinking, so unless the groundwater is highly contaminated, we can go ahead and use it on crops. But yeah, there are irrigation things. The thing we don't ever want to do though, in order to reproduce this, we don't want to create a system on site that is non-reproducible by a farmer. So if we had someone come in and they had the irrigation system, they're used to these, drip lines and all that stuff that they did not help build. We just provided for them. It limits then that reproducibility within the community. So we're very mindful of that. Whomever.
What will 3 acres of land cost?
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica, I am not positive right now what the 3 acres would cost.
So is it possible that these people that are in under poverty could come up with the money to purchase that property?
Yeah, so if someone wanted to launch out on their own and acquire 3 acres, it would be a process that Raise would help them in acquiring that. So anyone that had been farming with Raise, we then would help them in acquiring that land, and it would be done in a way that is a loan setup, more than likely a zero interest loan setup with them. But the cool thing, and we were talking over here, the cool thing is that because it is Jamaicans helping Jamaicans, the loan repayment is then to Jamaicans. So there is that community sense of, it wasn't just entitlement, it wasn't the white guy giving them property.